Hey everybody, this is Flavio Romeo, and I hope everybody had a wonderful, happy, and healthy New Year. This is kind of a special episode because we had the opportunity of talking to Danielle and Joe at the Bear Cave right here in Hawthorne, and some of the things that they're doing for the children of our community. It is part of the school system. And it's amazing what they're doing. And they had Paws in Hand in today. So we talked to Tom and Stu of Paws in Hand. It's a nonprofit organization that works with shelter dogs, foster dogs. They help train them and then bring them to some of these organizations, schools from in the area, nursing homes and different areas. But today in particular, they're here at the Bear Cave, so you get an opportunity to hear from both of them. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. All right, enjoy the episode, everybody. So Tom, tell me a little bit about Paws in Hand.
Paws, it's an organization that was founded well over 10 years ago. As a matter of fact, Stu Cutler was one of the founding members. And Paws takes dogs originally from rescue shelters and used to bring them to classes for special needs kids in one or two locations. The idea was to give the kids, teach them lessons in kindness to animals, give them a sense of accomplishment when they work with the dogs, also teach them to work in teams. And the net result was it also benefited the dogs who were in shelters because the dogs themselves needed to be socialized to get adopted and help to calm the dogs down. Learn that there are so many environments with all different size, shapes, colors, voices, accents, and the dogs could feel safe in any. And one of the first lessons we teach the kids is the most important thing you do for a dog is, number one, make them feel safe. And number two, teach them to come. So they don't run out in the street and get hit by a car. But little by little, we've come to realize how much it benefits the kids. We've had some kids in some venues who wanted to join the class because they were afraid of dogs and they wanted to learn how to be around dogs. And they come in, they learn that dogs can be taught to be safe, they can learn how to connect with dogs, they can learn how to train dogs. And we give them basic lessons on how to train dogs, the three methods of training, which are luring, capturing, and shaping, which is a whole other story. But little by little, one little boy who was terrified of dogs over at the Windsor Academy in Pompton Lakes came into the class, pressed himself against the wall, and just wouldn't move. And by the end of the first class, he was playing with a pit bull that I had trained. And he said, well, this isn't so bad. And by the end of it, he actually created a bench that we took to the shelter saying, please adopt these wonderful dogs. And he adopted a dog.
Really? Oh, that's so cool.
And he was terrified of dogs.
Yeah.
It was really wonderful.
I could see where a program like this would also, a lot of fears, so this helps them. If they can overcome their fear of dogs, then it's possible to overcome other fears.
And also, a number of these kids have got some issues they're dealing with, learning issues and whatever, and emotional issues. And when we show them dogs that have been through the shelter system, and all the dogs here have been in shelters and now adopted, we say, look, you take a dog that was initially, everybody gave up on because the dog was such a mess. It was either aggressive or terrifying, or whatever terrified dogs tend to attack. And look how they've turned out. Everybody has a chance to grow and become better and stronger and accomplish things. And it's amazing. One of my favorite stories is a little boy who was so severely autistic he couldn't even look in the eye. And he came to every class for 20 weeks. Normally they only went for 3 weeks. And he stood there one day, and he's standing there staring at the ground, and I called him by name, and I said, what would you like to teach? And the dog I was working with, was a blind pit bull. I said, wouldn't you like to teach her how to sit? The dog already knew how to sit. And he looked and he locked eyes on me. It was the first time he ever made eye contact. He was, sit. And the dog popped down.
Really?
The dog knew how to sit.
Yeah. Right.
Paw. And then he just withdrew and he went back into his little world, totally separate from us. The teacher came over and said, he's never spoken in school before. And it was just a tipping point. They do such wonderful work at the school. It was a tipping point. And years later, when he had advanced to high school, we'd go into the school with dogs and he'd come out, hi Paws, hi Paws. He had begun to develop from that point, and it was strictly a tipping point that the dog brought out something in him.
Wow.
It was absolutely wonderful. One of my favorite stories.
I mean, it's got to, it has to be so rewarding to see the kids develop like that, but also for the dogs, to watch the dogs develop.
Oh yeah. I mean, many dogs you see. We can't take all dogs because some dogs are not suitable for this environment. But if a dog's been in a kennel and we work with them long enough and we see that he's safe and we get the right handler who understands completely how to work with the dog, you teach the kids. You can show them videos of the dog when they were in their early stages where they were still learning to be social and see how they socialize. And the kids go, it's really cool. And some of the kids have said, I want to grow up and become a dog trainer because I want to help dogs change. And some kids have actually gone on to bring home pets and have reported back to us, I've taught them how to do this and that and how to sit and how to wait for a treatment. It's just really wonderful to see that they've gotten so connected to animals because it brings out the best in people, I think. It really does.
Where do you find the dogs? How do you, they're not all your dogs.
No, well, now they are. All of our volunteers' dogs, we no longer have access to many kennels because they closed for the pandemic. And we were using 4 or 5 kennels. The only kennel we currently use is one called Rescue Haven in Verona. And those dogs are all in foster. They're not in kennels, which is good because they're generally much more gentle when they're in foster. Kennels brings out kennel shock, and dogs get really stressed out, and you can see them suddenly go downhill. But all the dogs that we now bring have been through the rescue system, and they're now owned. And a lot of the people we have were people that adopted them from the rescues that we were involved in, and we say,
and then volunteer the dogs.
Come join us and show what you've done with this dog, and teach the kids how you made this dog's life safer, better, happier, and look what happened. So it's really a great lesson for the kids.
Now, if people have dogs that they want to involve in this program, is that possible?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact,
because we have our little our golden doodle, who's up in age, 11 years old, but loves people, loves kids.
Would be perfect. Matter of fact, although the rules were initially to, we were trying to socialize dogs, and the offshoot was we actually help the children as well. The rules have changed. We have a number of dogs that are not through the shelter system. They're either through breeders or adopted from friends or whatever. We actually have a woman who breeds Newfoundlands for shows. She's been in a lot of big national shows, and every now and then she'll show up and bring a couple of Newfoundlands.
Big.
Today we have 2 elephants joining us, and they are the sweetest, gentlest dogs, and teaches kids that don't be afraid because the dog's big. And so we bend the rules, and we've changed our mission slightly to include dogs that not necessarily have been through a shelter, but dogs that have been conditioned in such a way, and you can show how you can take a dog's behavior and mold it and train the dog to be very social and good. Because obviously a show dog, if the show dog doesn't trot next to you, like I don't know if you've seen the movie Best in Show, but the one dog who attacks the judge, that's not a show dog. That's not a dog we bring here. We have a very diverse base. One of our challenges has been when Stu and I left the one shelter and took the program with us and formed a not-for-profit. We had started with one school and about 8 volunteers, and we took them aside and we went from one school to 7 schools, and we went from 7 volunteers up to almost 40 volunteers.
Wow.
When the pandemic came, little by little, people began to drift away because it just wasn't enough to do, and the schools wouldn't let us in. So now we're back to 2 venues, we're up to about 10 volunteers, and we're looking to build again.
Is there a way, you guys have a website or Instagram, Facebook? What's the website?
The website is, I'll give you my card too, so you can post. It's pawsinhand.org, pawsinhand.org, and you just go on there and you say, I'd like to volunteer. There's a thing, volunteer, are you a school that would like to bring us in, whatever. You just click on the right one, fill it out, and what we do is we will we'll actually meet with you and your dog and make sure the dog's appropriate, and if not, work with the dog and you and the dog so that we can bring you into the fold. And the more people we get, the broader we can make this, the more schools we can go to.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
We've been to a number of schools are waiting in line now saying, when can you come back? And we just don't want to disappoint them. We went from 4 times a month at one school to 1 time a month, and we used to do this twice a month. We're now down to 1 time a month here at the Bear Cave, and we've also done Hawthorne High School. We've done just a number of schools, Indian Hills. We've done Wayne Hills.
That's great.
BCSS. We'd love to get back to them, but we just don't have the resources anymore. Our assets are our people and our dogs.
Yeah.
And we're a little bit light on assets at this point. Yeah.
Well, so people can also, if they can't volunteer, they can donate, right? They can donate. You guys are 501c3.
Yeah.
100% tax deductible donations. And you know, I talked to somebody from Bow Wows and Meows in Glen Rock, and they do a lot of fostering. They're actually a big organization, but this one was in Glen Rock,
and
they do a lot of fostering.
Yep.
So I'm going to make sure that they see this and they get in touch with you and you guys, because I think there's some great synergy between you two.
Oh yeah, we're looking for shelters who can provide us dogs and will open their doors to volunteers. And we're looking for foster-based shelters are the best, because not that there's anything wrong with a kennel-based shelter. There's a need for that. But the kennel dogs, after about 2 or 3 months, if they haven't been adopted, they begin to get kennel stress, and they become very unapproachable in many cases. Foster dogs are in homes, and they're being nurtured and loved and made to feel safe, and typically they're much easier to condition to bring to a place like this.
Well, we'll definitely put you in touch with them. I think there's some great opportunities there.
We've had some people who have been involved with a number of shelters, and because their kids are now in high school, they're going to sporting events and they're getting their kids ready for college. So they've slowly dropped out, and now they're hopefully starting to come back as their kids finally go away, go to college, come back to the fold with us. But we've got a number of those, 3 or 4 that were just excellent volunteers.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to make sure you get more volunteers and more dogs.
I don't want to mention names, but there was one volunteer who has since gotten married and had a family, but her brother was a Devils forward.
Oh, really?
Devils forward, and I remember walking with her and I'm saying, "Why are you wearing a Devils jersey?" She said, "My brother plays for the Devils." And she was wonderful because she has all sorts of dogs, and she's no longer available, and she can't come back because she's just starting a family.
Right.
But I won't mention her name because I didn't get her permission. But she was a wonderful volunteer, and we had a number of people like that who just, for family reasons and life reasons, have had to drift away.
Yeah, sure.
We're starting from scratch again. And
Well, we're gonna try to build it back up again. This is Grace.
This is Gracie.
Hi, Grace. Want to say hi to the camera? That's a good girl.
She came from the Montclair Animal Shelter, and she's about 5 years old.
5 years old.
And she is just an absolute love for a beagle. She is a sweetheart.
Yes, I heard you.
Well, this is Snoopy. I mean, Snoopy, right from Charlie Brown is a beagle. Look at that face. Look at that face.
You got a cheeseburger in there.
So how many dogs do you usually bring around?
We would probably bring in 4, 3 or 4, depending on how many kids are here. Try and match them up. Like Gracie would normally play with Buddy, but I think she's a little intimidated by Bella.
Bella?
Bella's a little overwhelming this morning.
Yeah, that's a lot of activity.
But we're also looking for people with dogs, shelters with that can let their dogs that are people and other dog friendly. We've got other schools we could go to, but we just don't have enough people and enough dogs.
Right. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to get you more dogs.
Well, I'm hoping for it. Thank you very much.
Which one is your favorite of the 3? Do you like them all?
They know who helped love you.
So here we're in the inner sanctum of the Bear Cave, and we'll have a chance to take a look at Paws in Hand and what the kids are doing with the dogs. But I want to get a chance to talk to Danielle and Joe. Thank you so much for sitting with us. I really appreciate it. So, how long ago did the Bear Cave open?
This is our 6th year that we're operating.
6th year, okay. And I remember we used to be at the building right next door.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Yep.
Is that one of my old friends used to live upstairs from there?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Many years ago.
Well, we outgrew that space, and now we have a bigger and better space.
Yeah. So tell me about, and I've passed this a billion times a month, and I see the sign, and I've always wanted to come in, and and then all of a sudden Tom, who I worked with for years, calls me and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this thing at the Bear Cave." I'm like, "Good. Now I have good. Now I'm in."
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how the Bear Cave started, who started it, and what the whole concept is behind it.
Sure. So Mr. Sprito and Ms. Pignatello saw the need for this program because we can educate our students that have certain IEPs up to age 21. So
And he's the
yeah, the superintendent, Mr. Sprito,
Superintendent of
and then
schools, yeah.
Ms. Pignatello is the director of special programs. So they kind of put their heads together, and we went looking around we went with them looking at different houses that were in Bergen County, and we were able to come together and with their little baby build this program. So it's been amazing. And we both came from the high school, and now
Were you both teaching at the high school?
Joe was helping out he was at the middle school, then he came to the high school.
Yes.
So now he's our transition coordinator. So he helps not just the students at the Bear Cave. He's house at the Bear Cave and helps us the most. But he helps all students, I guess, from age 14.
14 up, from 14 to 21, which is the age of transition technically. So it begins when they're in the middle school, and then through high school, and then really comes to like a point in 18 to 21 age, because that's when you're getting most of these students and their families ready for the student to access adult services in the real world post 21, where they move from, they're under the school's umbrella, the district's umbrella, out into the adult services world. So we help them follow a timeline to transition them into the adult services world as smoothly as possible.
And so as a transition coordinator, you're transitioning them from middle school to high school to adulthood, kind of. Pretty
there's
much.
certain things, like, so 14, that's when they start to think about what they want to do with their future. So, that's that.
And you guys coach them on that as well, like a guidance counselor.
Well, it's the team, so
we try to see what they want to do.
And in the classroom in the middle school, they're going over job exploration. The case managers are giving them, career inventories where they can, select and try to figure out what they would like to do with their life. It's that introduction.
Sure.
But then other things so at age 16, that's when they can start going out to their work-based learning, their WBL jobs. So I help set that up. Starting when they're usually sophomores in high school, they start going out, and then they continue going out until they're 18 in the high school. So 18 is another milestone year because that's when they can start to apply for SSI benefits and Medicaid benefits. So we want to make sure that everything's in line so that they can start the process of accessing that smoothly.
Okay, so you help them transition into that as well.
So you kind of educate on what to do financially so that you don't have too much money to qualify for those services, because even though maybe based on whatever your situation is, you might be able to access that money. If you have too much money in your bank account, like sometimes people start they have like grandma starts a secret bank account for their grandchild,
right, like a trust fund or something. All of a sudden they have $50,000.
Yeah, and that would be a huge problem. So you start saying like, look, you can't have any money in excess of $2,000 in an account in their name going back 3 years prior to them turning 18.
So you help them work through that.
Yeah, so we start talking about that. That starts to get introduced to them in the middle school. We start talking about it a lot more when they're in the high school, so that they can apply for those services when they turn 18. Also too, we determine whether or not they're going to come to this program or they're going to go out to the real world. If they're going out to the real world, we also try to set them up with DVRS services. DVRS is the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services, and they can help them with employment moving forward after they graduate.
Oh, okay.
But the whole thing is, to get that at 18, to get SSI and Medicaid, because that Medicaid is what's going to fund them after they age out of the district services at 21. They enter the adult services world, and most of the students take advantage of the DDD, the Department of Developmental Disabilities, and they...
And those are state programs?
State program, correct, yeah. So that gets funded federally through Medicaid. DDD is a state program, and what they do is they assess the person to see what their level of need is, and then based on that level of need, they create a budget for them, and they use that budget for whatever services they're going to need moving forward after they leave here.
Okay.
So, it'll help with housing, employment, day-to-day living, skills.
Sure.
If the person's going to go to day programming, it funds that as well. So, what we try to do here is we try to, help them stick as closely as they can to the timeline so that that transition occurs smoothly.
And how do the kids find you, or how do you find the kids? Like,
So
starting at the age of 14.
They have like a special tract that
Yeah.
they're in for their schools and with the services they receive. So then they kind of know. We usually know who's coming up to to the Bear Cave program
Okay.
based
Yeah.
on their needs and things.
So all the
And then-
schools are aligned, and
Correct.
they all know.
Yeah.
Okay, here's
yeah,
some.
it flows
some
from
children
one.
for you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they know
Yeah.
that usually they know that this will be like their final, their final stopping before they go out into the real world. But when when they are here, we treat them like they are adults. So they come in, and on Mondays we go grocery shopping, but they have to budget for the week. They have to meal plan for the week. So when you're in elementary school, middle school, high school, you either mom and dad packs a lunch
yeah.
for you, or someone packs a lunch, or you're getting lunch. These kids have to budget. They have their refrigerators. They have to cook their own lunch every day.
Oh, do that here?
So, and we have different sign-ups. So we have the stovetop, the oven, the toaster oven, the griddle, sometimes the microwave. So there's a lot going on at lunch here. So the kids start their lunch at 11, and occasionally we do let them just make a sandwich, but we really want these students to learn how to use all of the appliances in the kitchen.
Yeah,
So
and clean after
and-
themselves.
exactly, and not
Food
just
safety.
and food safety,
Knife
cutting,
safety, yeah.
just
Kitchen safety.
like opening the oven, making sure they announce I'm opening the oven,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people in there. Or we
Getting
have
oven mitts.
oven mitts,
Yeah.
walking through with hot soup. We had the students that like soup coming through. It's almost like an operational working kitchen, but just to be aware of their surroundings and to learn how to share, because we have one knife block and we have X amount of
And
measuring
everybody's
cups
making
and-
lunch at the
right
same
at
time.
the same time.
Yeah.
So we are very fortunate since we moved to this place, this different location. We have 3 sinks and 2 full ovens and 2 full refrigerators, so there's a little more room, but they still need to work around each other and use that communication to work with each other, because sometimes our students, communication is a struggle. So they'll just be sitting there waiting, and I'm like, are you, use your words, ask someone to move. And we said the biggest thing when we started here 6 years ago was learning how to kind of sit on our hands a little bit, because we kept we would see someone struggling and we'd run over and be like, let me help you.
Yeah.
Or are your grilled cheese is burning.
You smell that?
Yeah.
And that was sort of like a big, like you said, there's a big adjustment. And,
Yeah.
even if we have to train like new staff that are coming in, because there's that, that you want to be helpful when you're assisting students in that academic setting. But here it's like they have to learn through experience. They have to fail, they,
Yeah, you have to.
Eating that burnt grilled
You have
cheese,
to
it
fall.
leaves a mark rather than me coming in and rushing and flipping it.
My
and then it
daughter,
tastes-
when she was young, touched a radiator once.
Yeah.
Never touched it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
That's the only time we do step in, is if there's like
don't want anything to get hurt.
a safety
Yeah,
hazard.
yeah.
We're
But I
like,
mean, it's-
Yeah, I know.
You know,
my son
Yeah.
cut his hand one time.
It's like taking the training wheels off a bike.
Absolutely.
You
And
don't
it's-
want them to
yeah.
fall, but
Yeah.
Sometimes,
they're
yeah.
gonna fall.
But
a
it's the
couple
same way,
times.
like even so after they budget, and we go to the grocery store and we go up to ShopRite in Wyckoff, and sometimes they'll look at us like, I can't find, whatever. And I'm like, okay, what can you do? Instead of being like, oh, that's an aisle, blah, blah, blah. So it's like,
Yep.
first you're going to look, and you're going to look for the aisles and see if you can find your item. Then, if you're really stuck, you can ask a store member or store associate. And
Right. It also teaches
Yeah.
them a little some social
Right.
skills,
Right.
and how to
How to-
ask for stuff when you need it.
Yeah.
And not just, looking for, mac and cheese, and then just, the first thing you see is like, well, do you have enough money for that?
Right. Are
so
there
you,
other choices?
right, on your list, you budgeted for this brand, and now all of a sudden you want the organic, but you can't afford
I
that
still
on
need
your
help
budget.
with budget.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
can't figure it out. I just want what I want when I go to the
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and sometimes things aren't, labeled properly because, there's not enough employees, or things are put in,
Wrong
so they
spot.
know where the price scanner is. They know how to use that. And
Oh,
so
that's
as they're
awesome.
going through they have their phone out, and some of them start with their, they usually get about $20 a week they bring in. Some of them go and they subtract it as they go. Some others, as they're going, like, okay, my mac and cheese was $1.49. They put it in, they add up. And they know if they get close to that $19, like
The cutoff.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also learning lessons. We had a student this week who's like, I don't have enough money, and I'm like, well, let's look through what we can cut out. And he had Oreos on. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an easy one. but I really want those Oreos. I said, I get
If
it.
you really want them, then you're not going to have lunch.
Exactly. So you can't just have Oreos for lunch.
They're sandwiches. They're
Yeah.
little sandwiches.
So it's a lot of.
What? Tell me about, like, work me through the week. So from what they do Monday. It's only Monday to Friday?
It's Monday through Friday,
Okay.
just like it mirrors pretty much the regular school day. They
Yeah.
start a little bit earlier than the high school, and they get out a little bit earlier than the high school. But Mondays are budgeting and grocery shopping. We still do a bunch of curriculum things, like we have mock bank accounts that they have to use, and cashing a check, depositing a check, using an ATM, things like that. So we do curriculum things like that, and couponing. We also do curriculum things, Flash, family life and sexual health, where we do a lot of social skills. We talk about relationships, not just friendships, dating, and because they are adults and they want to have these relationships. So some of that gets thrown in on Mondays. Lunch, and then they start their work. They leave every afternoon, Monday through Thursday. They go to work for. They work at the site about an hour and a half, and then they come back and they have chores they have to do every single day. We rotate through chores every 2 weeks. Some of the chores are vacuuming, steam mopping, dusting, sanitizing, cleaning the bathroom, which no one wants to do, but it has to be done. Cleaning the kitchen, taking the trash out. Steam mop, and learning also that trash goes out on Wednesday evening, and recycling. So is it cardboard? Is it glass and aluminum?
Yeah.
So check the calendar, and just learning how to be, contributing to, like, just being an adult.
So, doing daily living skills on your own.
Yeah.
Tuesdays we're not in the building, but we don't have a task we have to do. But sometimes on Tuesdays we do banking, we do travel training. They run a cafe once a month, so the cafe is open to the public. We do a curbside cafe, so people will come and order. So many great things about this cafe. The kids are waiters and waitresses. They're hosting.
That's so fun. So people come in?
Yeah,
they're
once a
shopping
month.
for the ingredients.
I'll have to get you the date for January.
Yeah, give me the date and we'll post it for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But the kids are basically running a restaurant for a day. So the entire week they're prepping. The cash register, people are coming in.
They must love that.
They
They
do.
must love
And
it.
the most amazing part is the community tips the kids, which
Yeah.
I never thought in a million years they would. But it's great because now the tips go right
Now
back
they
in
can
the
get
community.
those Oreos.
Well,
Yeah,
they can do
well.
that too. Typically, what we do is we'll take a walk down the block, and maybe they'll go and order some lunch for themselves, or going to Bogey's, or they're going down the street to Angelina's or Tasties, or so they're supporting the local businesses. Or the chocolate box is a favorite too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So they get to so it's just nice that the community is supporting
Getting
and the
back
money's
to the
going right
computer.
back
That's
into the
awesome.
community while the students are learning how to deal with cash and budgeting and walking and navigating the streets, and okay, this is where I need to go. How am I going to get there? And just
Yeah.
using Google Maps to walk
Well,
someplace.
and it must give them such a feeling of purpose.
Oh, absolutely.
And to be able to, like, say, wow, we just fed all these people,
Yeah.
or we just gave them all,
Mhm.
that's so
Yeah, it's like it's funny because it's always very stressful. It's probably the most stressful time at
I would
the Bear
imagine.
Cave.
Yeah.
But it's always like the most rewarding,
Mhm.
and especially like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like we were kind of tasked with creating this. It was an idea that was given to
And
us.
like, great idea, go ahead and do it.
And we're like,
And
wait,
we-
we're doing this.
and we were able.
That
to
was an idea
I'm
for
a
someone else.
teacher. I don't know how to be a chef.
But what was really lucky, we were lucky to have somebody on staff who had that background,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, and like the tomato sauce that we use is Miss Luck's recipe. I like to cook,
Yeah.
so and I've worked in restaurants in the past, and so we all bring this like skill set to get everything done.
Yeah.
And
And the
it's-
students step up too. Like,
Yeah.
if you set the bar, a lot of times they really step into that
Yeah.
role, and they feel so empowered by
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
amazing,
totally.
and we cycle them through different jobs. Who's in the back of the house? Who's working the register? And they'll start
Because
to
even
get,
in real life,
Yeah.
you have
Mhm.
people you don't want in the front of the
Right.
house.
Absolutely.
You want them in the
and
back.
people
Agree, yeah.
who don't want to be in the front of
Yeah.
the house, they
Right.
want to be in the
They
back
want-
of the house. and
yeah,
they're-
yeah,
and
that's great.
they love
and
They're
that.
some
able to
people,
figure
even
that
though
out.
they
Yep.
they want to be a waiter or waitress, we're like, are you going to be able to carry that to the table without spilling and this and that? And they're like, oh, maybe I do need more practice. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's
Great.
evaluating themselves. They also we have a t-shirt enterprise where we take orders, and we've done like Hawthorne Soccer. We do the LMS, the Superstars every year. We Yeah, sure, get a shirt. So they sell all of this merchandise, and then they see this, they're like, oh my gosh, I was out this weekend and I saw someone wearing one of our shirts. This is great.
That's so
and we
great.
made it. And it's awesome, so they heat press, and here comes,
I'm
this
just
is
gonna put it
our,
behind us.
Sure, yeah,
this is
yeah.
one
Put
of
a
their
little
most
prop.
recent creations. This is like their sweatshirt.
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, so they...
So this is available. If people want to buy
Yeah.
this, they can buy.
Mhm.
Yes.
Now, you guys, is there a website or is there?
So we have a website through the high school that we do usually put up like our cafes and the
Okay.
merchandise we have and things. They sell it at Hawthorne Day. Well, the Board of Ed sells it for us at Hawthorne Day. But yeah, they do a ton of stuff. But yeah, this was their most recent. And then we're getting the Superstar order will come in by the end of this week, and then we have to send the order out. They fulfill the order, and then it's
So
a
they're
lot
also
of
they're learning business. They're
Yes.
learning how to
Yeah.
handle money. They're
how to
learning
handle money and
P&Ls.
inventory.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a total aside. Sorry. So then Wednesday we come in and they get changed. They go to the gym. We go to Retro Fitness in Fair Lawn.
Okay,
and we
that's
do
where I go.
Yeah, and the staff there is amazing. They know us, and the kids love it. And they work out for about an hour. And the only requirement we have is that they clean the machines, and that they work out, or they warm up rather, on the treadmill for 5 minutes. Then they can choose what they want to do. Some of them like to just stay on the treadmill. Some go in the movie room. Some lift weights. But it's their own workout. And when we get back, they change.
Yeah, self-care.
Laundry
They
is
do their own
all
laundry,
done
yeah.
here.
Oh, really? You do that all
Yeah,
here?
they do. They practice their laundry skills here, and also because we have the dish towels and the hand towels and things. So we do laundry several times a week. They also have work shirts that they wear to work. Those stay here, and it just takes turns who
Who's
does the
doing
laundry.
laundry?
And our program is all data driven, so there's no real academics. So they don't have tests that they sit down for. We're taking data all day on, who's doing the laundry, how the chores are done, what they're doing at work. So everything is tracked, but you're not getting an A, B, C, D on your laundry skills.
Right.
But yeah, so
And you're moving
sorry.
from using like a visual aid to complete the task to not using the visual to only needing somebody to watch you do the task one
Right.
time a week. That's like the top. And,
Yeah.
and that's figured out through
Yeah,
the
so
data.
when they're doing their chores, one of us, and they have to ask one of us to watch them, we're walking around with a clipboard and, making sure, because they have a visual, like Joe was saying, this is what you're supposed to do first, second, third. When you're cleaning the bathroom, you're not going to clean the toilet seat first. You're going to start with the sink. You're going to start top to bottom. Then you move to the toilet, top to bottom. Once that touches the toilet seat, you're not going anywhere near that sink again.
Yeah.
And when you're throwing out the trash, as soon as you throw out the trash, you need to wash your hands.
Yeah.
You're not going into another. So just things that we all take for granted, especially the social skills aspect
Yeah,
of
sure.
it. We're very, like we said, been working together for years, the whole staff, which we're so blessed. So we poke fun at each other, and then we start to poke fun at them just because our students are very literal.
Yeah.
And we know that out in the real world, people are poking fun, they're joking all the time, and we don't want their feelings to get hurt. We don't want someone to joke around and
Yeah.
then
'Cause
all of a
just-
sudden it gets taken literally and you don't want to go to work anymore because that person doesn't
Sure,
like
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
'Cause, sometimes people are joking around with you because they actually like you.
Right.
Because
Right.
if they didn't like
But it's
you,
hard for them
they wouldn't.
to understand
Yeah.
sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So-
we work on that.
Yeah, we have some students who came in like so quiet and didn't, and now they'll poke fun at us. And sometimes people are like, you let them talk to you? Like, no, this is good. This is what we want. We want them to joke around with us.
Yeah,
we want
yeah.
them to, and it's very, we work when we need to work here, but it's also very fun for them to come here, and we want them to have fun. And they look forward to coming here. I think most of them.
I hope.
Because we're constantly laughing. We're doing fun things and bringing programs like Paws in, and having them have this time to relax and
Yeah, so-
interact with the dogs.
So I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So Paws in Hand. How long have you guys been working with them?
Since I was in the high school, so
Wow,
god, yeah,
really?
they used to come to my classroom when I was in the high school, and then when we moved here, Stu Cutler, it was like, "Can we come along?" I said, "Absolutely." So we've been working with them for, I guess, probably 8-9 years.
Wow. So they
Yeah.
bring the dogs in.
They bring the dogs in. They will teach the kids simple commands sometimes the dog will do with the dogs. It's building the confidence for the students because sometimes it's hard for them to interact with us, and interacting with the dogs a little bit easier. We have some students that have very high anxiety, they run very hot sometimes, and when the dogs come in, it seems like everyone's relaxed and happy and building confidence and socializing more even too with adults that they don't know, because the dogs sometimes bring that relaxation, and then they're able to talk to, oh, Mr. Tom is coming, Mr. Stu is coming.
And it also, I mean, it helps the dogs because depending on where they came from, the type of situations they came from, it helps them also. But I love the fact that it builds confidence in the kids, because if especially for the shy ones or the ones that have anxiety, when they feel like, I can make friends with this dog, I can make friends with people.
Yes.
So I can if I can do this, and I can, just because I saw it just a little bit, a little bit in the room.
We have some students that are very soft-spoken, and it's like you said, like, oh, this dog listened to me. This dog sat when I told. Maybe if I ask someone, excuse me, I need to get somewhere, they're going to listen to me, and they start to find their voice a little more.
Yeah.
So it helps the kids.
How
and
often
the dogs
do they come
tenfold. Usually about once a month. If we're lucky, sometimes twice a month. But their schedules and our schedules are a little hectic. But almost always once a month.
Do other towns have programs like this? I mean, this is.
I mean, not as good as ours.
Well, that's what I said.
Well, we're the only program in Passaic County, the only district in Passaic County that has
this type of program.
Where our 1821 program is located off campus. A lot of other places have, a lot of other districts have.
They're in the school.
18 to 21, but they're in the school,
and
they're following the bell schedule, and they're
which is tough.
Yeah, because this is
you can't sometimes things.
Relaxed.
It's more of a home.
Yes.
If that's what you're training them, you're training them to clean and cook and do be responsible and walk around the community. To do that in a school is tough.
And it's hard. And sometimes, we're working on something and we're right in the middle of it. If the bell were to go off, it would end it. So, sometimes we do have certain times that we have to stick to. Like lunch usually starts at 11, but there have been times where we've run into 11:15, and just to work through whatever we're working through, because it's important and it needs to be addressed at that time. We're able to do that. We have that flexibility. And then
what a great model for other communities. This is amazing.
We're very, very fortunate.
To have a district that supports it. Not only the district, and we always talk about this. A program like this might not be able to work in every community, but it works in Hawthorne because we have an extremely supportive community, and we have lots of great things that are walkable for us too. So we can go walk and get lunch. We can walk to the bank. That's one of the things. Like in some communities, they're a little bit too spread out, so they can't take advantage of those things.
Yeah, true.
But
and everyone's I don't want to say friendly, but it's like we're walking places, and I feel like every single time we're walking, we get like a honk from someone, or we see a police officer that knows us, or a firefighter, or someone in town, and it's like, it's just so wonderful to be so supported. And one of our cafes, Mr. Sprito, the superintendent's like, do you need me to tell people to stop ordering? Are you getting too out of control? I'm like, we can handle it. Like, the kids love this. So it's just like, you have such support, and it's amazing.
And it keeps the kids in the community.
Yeah.
It keeps the students in the community, because if we didn't have that, then they would be getting sent out, and they would be learning these things in a different town. And it's better to stay home.
Well, I mean, the parents are here, the family's here, and if they're comfortable growing up and going out in the community here, I mean, what's better than that?
And they're accessing the resources in their community.
It's a comfort level.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, definitely let me know the next time you're doing one of those cafes.
It's next month,
that
the end
idea.
of the month. We have individual chicken pot pies, and then spinach pie is our vegetarian option, right? Because we always do a meat and a vegetarian option. So.
That's wonderful. And if there are any programs that you guys are looking to implement here, reach out to me. Let me know, because through the Towncast we've.
Yeah, well, that's the. We always talk about like our work-based learning program. Prior to COVID, it was a really robust program. We had a lot of different placements, and we were able to rotate through a lot of different, job sites. But after COVID, we lost some of those that were like really kind of like the like the kingpin, the linchpin, whatever you want to call it, that kind of like tied everything else together. So we're looking to get back out, and if anybody knows anybody who has local businesses where maybe they would want to have our students come in and work, that would be a great thing.
How can they reach out to you guys? How can they?
They can
just
email one of
email
us, go on the
or
website,
Give us your
call.
email address.
or give a call.
Yeah. So it's just D Forche
So I'll put this right on the bottom
Yeah.
of the screen right now.
at Hawthorne.
At Hawthorne?
At Hawthorne. It's a long one. Be careful.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like at Hawthorne.
Yeah.
.K12.
Yeah.
.NJ. .US.
Yeah.
And then Joe's is the same,
it's
except
almost
for
like
he's
you
Joe.
want
Jay
anybody to
Walker.
reach
I
out to
know.
you?
Yeah, I'm Jay Walker.
Jay Walker, same.
At that.
Same
At that.
spiel.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And
And
then
number?
We have a direct number.
973
Yep.
423 6454.
6454?
And that'll ring right in the office.
Yep.
So if there are businesses out there that want to be a part of this program and want to invite one or two of the kids to come in and teach them maybe the kitchen, or I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like a Bogey's Hoagies,
Yeah.
or how to clean, or how to make sandwiches,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or any of the businesses around here. Yeah, we'll definitely reach out.
And
Yeah.
it's unpaid.
Yeah.
Like unpaid
It-
learning,
it-
and then
it-
it
it
could
could be
develop.
paid.
No, it
You know?
could be
Yeah.
paid, but I don't want people to think like
Correct.
they have to
Yeah,
pay.
but
the
while they're in the
That's-
program,
yeah. Right.
it's part of their internship.
Yeah.
It's a free
Yeah.
internship.
Yeah.
But if it works out,
Yeah.
once they're out of the
Yes.
program, they could get a full-time job.
And we do have a site where our students are paid for their WBL experience, but they have to meet that standard.
Yeah. If
Right.
they're not working to a certain
Certain
standard,
standard,
they don't
then-
get paid because they need to be treated as any other employee would be.
Yeah, they have to meet the expectations of the job to
Yeah.
get that
And
that
we've
paid
had
employment.
like some
But-
students
but-
that were at this site that got hired beyond graduation.
Correct,
So
yeah.
we have a
Right.
student that was here last year and he's still working at the site. So it's
But
amazing.
it's got to feel rewarding
It-
to
it
see
is.
them
It is.
after,
I
because
think-
there's always that
Oh.
concern,
Well-
like when you.
Well, the best
when you
part
visit,
is,
you
we
know.
have students that will literally walk down the street now that COVID's over, and they'll knock because they know what time we have lunch, and they're like, "Can I come in and say hi to everyone?" And it's just like so great to see. And then they come back to the cafe as patrons as opposed
Right,
to working
right.
the cafe. So our last
and
cafe,
they're paying
we
with
had,
money that they
Yes,
made from
yeah.
learning how to. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
And it's
so it
kind
was
of-
like our whole last cafe was
Yeah,
our returning
all alumni.
students.
Yeah.
it
Oh,
was
so
it was
great.
amazing.
And it was
Yeah.
like affirmation that maybe we aren't that bad. That they do like
Yeah,
us.
they actually
you
do
know?
like us. They want to come back.
Yeah.
They do. They're like, we actually miss you. I'm like, I knew it.
I told you you would.
Yeah.
We're not that bad.
Well, I want to thank you for what you guys do. It's amazing, and it's one of the things that makes this community so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that people watching, people listening, realize that because sometimes it's hard when you have blinders on, and you're looking at your own family, you're looking at your own
Yeah.
life, and you don't see what's going on
Right.
outside of your home. But,
Yeah.
but to know that you guys are doing this, you've been doing this, and especially situations like bringing Paws in hand over.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and listen, for anybody that wants to volunteer or wants to come to the cafe or
Yeah.
wants to open up their doors and have some of these kids come intern, you've got their email addresses, you've got their phone numbers, and hopefully we'll see everybody at the next cafe.
Yeah, I'll get you the date.
Yeah. And you can buy a sweatshirt.
And you can buy
a
the
sweatshirt for $25.
Will they be
or
available
a
at the cafe?
They're always
All right.
available
Get
at
all
the
your
cafe.
merch?
Yeah.
Get all
We
the
have
merch out there.
Sweatshirts and t-shirts, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
thanks
thank
for
you.
coming.
Thanks
We
for,
appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.